everyone. Hello, Amber. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very happy it's Friday.
Yeah, aren't we all?
Yeah, for sure. So today, for everyone who's watching, I'll be spending time with Amber, who is the founder of Sweeney Curations. And for those of you who don't know, she offers branding packages, logo development, and print and digital design. And personally, I've been following Amber for quite some time now, and I have to say that her work's incredible. So
thank you.
Yeah, everyone has to go check her out. So let's just dive right in. Can you tell me more about what you do and how long you've been in the business and how you got started?
Yeah, I officially started Sweeney Curations May 2019. So I'm just over 2.5 years now, running the company myself and being the sole designer behind it all. I got into it, I was actually on mat leave with my firstborn. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur of some sort, did not know what that entailed. And I'd always been designing. Even my wedding, I laugh because I'm like, oh my gosh, I was one of those people. I was on Vistaprint and I was upset because I didn't like the actual design of the template. And I was calling in and dealing with like the customization team. And I'm like, well, how can I just narrow this down and move this over? I never knew. And I'm really glad that nowadays they're talking about it more in school, but I never knew graphic design was a career path I could have chosen.
Right.
I was on mat leave with my son and I was actually designing something for one of my best friend's bachelorette parties. And I was using clip art off the internet and trying to do it in Word. And I suddenly was like, I think there's actual programs for this.
Yes.
And it wasn't until that very moment I started Googling, and within, I want to say it was within a week of that kind of what I literally refer to as my epiphany, I was enrolled in graphic design school. I earned my degree after that. It was a whirlwind of emotions and a big decision and a full career path change, but I've never really looked back. And I now am kind of one of the main people that am always encouraging people to, you know, if there's something that you're wondering or a path that you're kind of considering, if you don't kind of take that leap of faith, you'll never know. So I'm somebody that's very much like, go for it if you can.
Yeah, and you have to get out of your comfort zone to grow too, right?
Sure.
So, yeah.
And usually there's a lot of sacrifice involved in that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like personally, I took marketing in college, and graphic design was part of the program, and it definitely takes a special type of person to do that. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So where are your clients from? Like, where do you attract most of your clients?
The nice thing about what I do is it's remote for the most part, so I can work with anyone really. I, for the most part, have a lot of Lanark County clients, specifically Ashton, Ontario, Carleton Place. I've had a lot of clientele from that area. But that being said, I also have a ton of Ottawa Valley. I have clients from all over Canada, from the west to the east coast. I actually just worked with a client that was based out of Vancouver, BC, and she had another division based out of New Zealand. So that was my first kind of encounter of, you know, truly setting up Zoom meetings where I was dealing with a different time zone altogether, where they're pretty much on a different day.
Right. Yes.
But I would say mostly Canadian companies. I actually have yet to work with anyone in the United States. It's a goal of mine, but I also love working with Canadian companies and people that are more local and that I get to kind of experience their businesses firsthand.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of all over, and it's word of mouth for the most part. It's referral based. It's the power of social media and who can find you.
Oh, definitely, for sure. And
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, where was your farthest client from? And now I know it's New Zealand. That is really cool.
It was really cool. It was really interesting. Even just talking to her, because it was during the pandemic too. I mean, the pandemic's kind of ongoing thing these days, but it was neat talking to her and listening to how she was experiencing life. Well, you know, we're in our third lockdown over here, and it's so neat getting to know people from different parts of the world.
Oh, for sure. And I bet it makes every day completely different, you know, dealing with people from around the world.
It does. And it's one of the things that I love most probably about what I do is that I get so many different, not even just locations, but different industries.
Oh yeah.
It makes it really exciting. It would be similar to real estate where you're dealing with so many different families and different types of, what they do and getting to know different things about what people are and what they do in their everyday. And it's really, really, I love that part of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you did Brittany Navin's branding, I believe, eh?
I did.
Yeah, it's awesome. I checked out her website and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
She's somebody that carried through all of her brand like assets that I delivered to her and created her own website with it.
Yeah.
And she did from top to bottom the most incredible job. She is one of the most lovely humans. She shot your wedding, correct?
She did.
She's amazing.
Yes, I might be a little bit biased, but she's
yep. I feel the same way. I'm like, she's super talented.
And with branding too, I took it in school and just being able to, use your branding to what it is and like implementing it everywhere. And it really does help for sure. And I saw your Instagram.
I think that the biggest piece with branding is that a lot of people think that I want to forevermore be doing all of the pieces when they come to me. And what I do is I actually encourage people to get on the app of Canva. I go in after I'm done a branding session and I will brand their app for them so that they can use that platform and do a lot of do it yourself, but with the proper pieces that have been put in place for them. So that part of it is something that a lot of people are surprised to hear when I say it, but I think being able to give clients that tool, and especially in this day and age where like show up on social media constantly and be present and I am just a one-man show over here. I don't have time to do that for all my clients every single day. So why not give them the tools and the confidence and the brand strategy behind it all to be able to encompass that and carry it forth.
Oh, for sure. And I personally use Canva for my job too. And it's awesome where you can, set all your brand colors, set all your logos, and it's just kind of like a one-stop shop to implement after you do all of that branding stuff for them. So that's awesome.
It's a great tool. And it's the only one I know of personally where you don't have to have a crazy design software behind you that you have to have in-house. Obviously that's what I'm using is real software. And then I pass on, here's the app to use to my clients. And, here's your transparent logo files and you can do your own thing with it. I think it's an incredible app and so nice to be able to pass that on to people.
Oh yeah. I've been using it for years and it's something I use probably every day.
Yeah, I would believe it. It's a really, really great, it's a great tool.
Yeah, no, for sure. So what's your favorite thing to do on your spare time, if you have any?
Funny. Spare time. So I have 2 young kids at home with me that are here full time. It's quiet right now because I sent them to my parents. Yeah. It's Friday night. I'm like, but they keep me very busy. So spare time does not happen a lot. However, I would say that probably one of my favorite things is actually just going for a walk with my kids. Yeah. It sounds really like mediocre, but it is the best part of my day to be able to just break away from my computer, to just take in nature and to like take in my kids and just feel present with them, but also be able to still kind of have my mind on designs that are going through my head.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I was to tell you what, like personally, if I didn't have my kids around, was my favorite part, I would say it would probably be going for a pedicure. Oh. I love just sitting in a chair and having a pedicure done and mindlessly scrolling through my phone or reading a book, and I'm like in heaven. So that would be my number one. If my husband was to ask, he'd be like, oh yeah, it's definitely like when she was for a pedicure.
Yeah, 100%. And I am in dire need of one, actually.
I had been throughout like most of the lockdowns, and I'm like, oh, it's like my one self-care thing that I love doing.
Yeah, and there's just something about being in a nail salon that's just, I don't know, it's just so relaxing. Like I always leave there like so tired and so relaxed, and I don't know, it's just a really good way to pamper yourself.
It is. It's very necessary sometimes.
Yes, especially in the summertime.
Yeah.
So what's something that people don't know about your business?
Ooh, I think that in general, it's not necessarily even just my business, it would be the industry as a whole. Graphic design is such a diversified type of industry where you can be specializing in web design, or you can be specializing in what I do, brand design. I mean, I still do logo development on its own for some clients. I do print and digital, social media kind of blitzes and content and all that kind of creation. However, I don't do web design. I have done it for myself. I don't enjoy it. I completely transparent. I know how to code some stuff. I don't love it. I find the web design process very overwhelming. So I have decided that I completely do all the brand pieces, and I work very well with several actual web designers where I pass on that all those assets, and they create it and develop it for clients. But I think that even just not even a web designer, graphic design in general there's some that are really, really skilled in illustrating, and there's some that are, just so many different respects of it, doing animation and doing different things. So I think the biggest piece about graphic design is that the minute somebody hears you're a graphic designer, they assume sometimes that you can just do anything. So it's a constant education bit that it's very much my business is specializing in brand identity and brand design and that kind of thing. So that's probably one of the number one things I'd say, just almost on the industry as a whole, is that graphic design is often lumped in with everything, and it's usually not.
It is what you make it, if just like you specialize in branding, other people do websites. So yeah, I totally agree with that for sure. Now, what would you say your clients love most about you and your business?
I would say it's probably my communication level. My approach to design is very collaborative. I love working hand in hand with my clients. I truly believe that they should love their branding. So I work with them to meet not only the fact that it's going to be their target audience that's going to be, well versed in, who they're trying to get, but it's the fact that I think that they should also love their branding and be proud to have it on stuff. So I think that the biggest thing and the funniest part is that when I'm done a branding session, I've probably talked to my clients so much over, especially the last few weeks of everything kind of finishing up, talking over brand strategy and going over all their files and talking to them, that by the end of a branding session, it almost feels like, I've talked to you X amount of times per day for the past week or two. And then it almost goes, you're talking to them then. I still talk to almost all my clients, and it's then, every month or something that you just, hey, how's it going? Or whatnot. But it almost feels like I've got a few messages before that says, it almost felt like we broke up because the whole process and the way that I work with my clients is very much, it becomes a friendship. I am the biggest cheerleader for small businesses and for wanting them to succeed. So it also becomes part of my business strategy, and the way I am is that I think that that's probably one of the biggest pieces, that they can feel the genuine belief behind it all. Often I've been told I'm kind of like a little cheerleader for some of them, especially when they're starting out and some of them are brand new to the, whatever they're going to launch. They're like, oh my gosh, you're so encouraging. We're full of nerves. I'm like, it's all part of it.
Yeah, no, it's good to not only build a relationship during the process, but afterwards too, right? Because if you're based off of, referrals and word of mouth, just being able to have those genuine connections with people, after the process is done, just goes to show, the quality of work that you put into everything.
Yeah, it's really, it's nice. And it's really neat having, again, like I said, like just getting to know different industries and being able to kind of know different aspects of things. It's really, it's a learning process on both ends. Like it's very, very neat. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now, what is the biggest challenge within your, I guess, industry or company right now, and how are you addressing it?
Biggest challenge, I had to think about this, and to be honest, it's a problem and it's not. I don't have enough hours in a day to take on all the projects that I would like to. Yeah. It's only me behind the scenes. And I'm booking large branding projects into like March of next year. Wow. So that is a problem in the sense of there are many people that are not able or have not thought that far ahead, and they come to you more so around the last minute or, you know, a month in advance, and I can't take them on. And oftentimes it's a project I would absolutely love to take on. It's just, I will never be somebody that will compromise my existing clients and projects that are in the works to take on something. Again, my reputation's on the line, and it's my clients that have already been, you know, waiting for me. So it's a problem because I can't service everyone that comes to me and wants to work with me. However, from a business standpoint, it's very humbling, and it's incredible to know who I'm working with for X amount of the next months. And when I get to a project now that somebody has waited to work with me on for several months, it's almost like an excitement. It's like that person really, really wanted me, which is the coolest feeling ever. It was actually, I don't know if you follow, but she would be local to, she's in Carleton Place, Elise McCurdy. She does amazing home design. She's an architect. I mean, she's amazing. And her and I are both moms of young children, and we both are just us behind the scenes. And we often talk about the sense of being an entrepreneur, and if you don't grow a team, it doesn't feel like you're succeeding. Like it constantly seems like if you are growing in a business and you have, your next step is to constantly have employees. And she actually did a post weeks ago and said that I have many business goals, but one of them is not aspiring to have employees right now. Right. And I can't even put it into better words, because it's both a problem and it's not, because in the fact that you're in demand and you have clients booked out and you're ready to kind of move forward with these existing projects, you get to be selective in the fact that you're choosing to work with people too. You're not taking on every single job that comes to you just because. You're taking on jobs that you believe in and that you want to work with. So it's neat, and it's just where we're at right now. And her and I were talking about it, and we just said, you know, to do it properly, we really want to be able to give it our all and to manage a team, and we're just not there because our team right now exists of 2 tiny humans. Yeah. So it's just kind of coming to that realization. And again, it's just how times change. And I think that the mindset of always having a team behind you and having employees and growing that is something that's, it's great if you can do it. It's not something that I would say I will never, ever do. But right now it's not. And so it's very much a problem for my company, but it's also, it's where it's at, and I'm embracing it. And I'm grateful for everyone that does book far in advance and wants to work with me.
So I guess moral of the story is we all wish there was more than 24 hours in a day. So kind of
that is definite.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, I'm like, how do I work and do school and deal with my family and have my own social life? Like, you need more than 24 hours in a day for that.
Yeah, I've also kind of embraced the fact that balance does not exist.
No.
I wish it did, but the sense of it is more so just you need to get what you need done, but you also need to kind of just embrace family life and other things sometimes.
You have to embrace the unbalanced life.
Yes.
So do you have any goals for your company?
I do. It's always, you know, every year there's goals of financial matter and just growth and all that kind of stuff. But I think actually one of my biggest pieces of a goal right now for my business, and do you enjoy wine, or do you like drinking wine?
I do, of course.
Okay. So some people are like, I don't like wine, I like something else, or whatever. I don't judge, but I myself consider myself a wine lover. I love hearing about a great new bottle of wine to try, or I love buying a bottle because the label is amazing. And one of my goals, I think, as a business now has become project related goals. Okay. So there's always like financial, you know, and that kind of thing. But now, because I work with so many different industries, it's become almost like I put a thing on myself of, I really want to work with this type of industry next. So I was actually drinking wine one night, and this is where I'm going with that. I was drinking wine one night, and I texted one of my clients and friends and said to her, she's a huge wine lover too, and I said to her, I am going to design branding, or at least a label, for a wine company within the next 5 years. I'm just putting that out there. So that is now how I'm making some goals for myself, is just almost project based. And it's I may have to cold call on some wine companies, but I'm going to make it happen.
Oh no, that's awesome. And if you're a wine lover, I'm sure you would get along great with Tanya. She also loves it.
It's not something that I have every night, but it's something that I really do enjoy, just having a nice glass sometimes and just it's one of those things.
Like a red or white wine person, or both?
I'm both. I tend to be white in the summer and red in the winter.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no,
I like a colder glass in the summer and
yes, I agree for sure. And I used to absolutely like hate wine. I thought it was the most disgusting thing, but then with age, I got so much better.
I would completely agree with you.
Yeah. I know, like I would be at dinner parties and everyone was, drinking wine and I was just sitting there and I'm like, this is so gross, but like, I want to be cool like everyone else. And I just forced myself to start, just drinking a little bit. And then I eventually liked it. So
it's an acquired taste.
It is for sure. So is there anything that you would like new or existing clients to know about your company?
I think in general, I would just like people to know, and it goes with a lot of industries, I would like them to know how much goes into design work.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and I know it's not just my industry, it's a lot of industries, and the dialogue behind it and how people discuss it. I know that the real estate industry, especially with a booming market, is very much, people are, it's really easy to do your job. There's so much that goes into it, and there's so much that's happening behind the scenes that people don't even realize.
Yes.
So I think the biggest piece for me is to constantly be educating, but to also just have people be mindful that this is somebody's career. And I talk about that a lot, is even, an interior designer or a photographer, or if you want their opinion on something, you can hire them. That's what they do for work, and that's their job. And I don't get a lot. I will say I did. But I got a lot of inquiries where people were, doing some sort of logo on Canva, and can you just quickly change up the font on this file? Oh. And I often took it personally, and then I realized it's not personal. It's people don't realize, because they don't have the software, they don't have the programs, and they don't realize how much is actually going in behind the scenes on stuff. So I think from a business perspective, and again, I'm saying it doesn't just translate to my industry, I think that in general, people should be very mindful of who they're talking to, the professional and the career that's behind that person. Yeah. And if they don't know, that's fine, but just ask the questions and get to know certain aspects. You don't have to get super technical, but often, and I've really started to have a consult call with clients where I walk them through a full presentation on what I do in the design process. And I'm often met at the end of it with, wow, like I had no idea this much went into it.
I know.
And that's only the pieces that I'm presenting. So I think that that's the biggest piece, is that before you're scared by the price tag or the price point, or, you're like, I don't want to invest in that, find out what's actually included and what's part of the process. And I think you might be genuinely surprised.
Oh, I like amen to that. Like people just see what we show them, right? But they don't really see what goes on behind the scenes. And once they actually realize what actually goes on, they're in awe, because there's a lot of very tedious things that need to be done in order to know, give out the perfect product or service.
There's a lot, and especially even with what you guys are doing, the wealth of knowledge that's behind it all. Mm-hmm. Knowing how closings work, or how the even offers work, and all that kind of stuff for legality reasons. I think that it's one of those things that I often talk about, just trying to change the dialogue around what people do professionally. I think that if more people respected people's careers and actually treated them like they were somebody's career and they have to pay their bills with that career, I think people would be feel a lot more respected, if that makes sense.
Oh no, 100%. Yep. Totally agree with you on that one. Now I will plug all of this information in the description, but people can find you on your website at www.sweeneycurations.com and on Facebook and Instagram, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I'll make sure that all that information is plugged on the bottom there for everyone to check out your work. And I want to thank you for your time with me today and giving out all this amazing information. And I really hope everyone understands, you know, how truly amazing you are as a business owner and all the hard work that you do to give out, you know, a really awesome product for your clients. And for all of those people, just make sure to check out her work. And, you know, she's probably booking very fast. So you have to reach out to her.
Thanks, Ashley.
Well,
and I'll let you know when that wine is out, and I'll drop you off a bottle.
Okay, sounds good. We'll chat soon.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Amber. You too. Bye.
Bye.